immersing ourselves in a brand new TV show, book, or game allows us to temporarily breathe in an ever-changing, chaotic world. Most people are able to enjoy the media they consume, and some even grow attached. They feel connected to the characters, the story, and they're invested in how the plot will unfold, but there's always those that take it too far. People who grow so attached to a story and or character that they begin to blur the lines between fiction and reality. You may have heard this phrase going around. People will treat fictional characters better than real people. It sounds absurd, but when someone struggles to differentiate between fiction and reality, it's easy to see how this phrase comes true. If someone sees a negative opinion about a character that they love, they will feel the need to defend that character, even though they aren't real. Sometimes these individuals are so immersed in this fantasy that they will lash out and treat people horribly as a result. They've cocooned themselves in a bubble that's so fragile that even a neutral thought becomes a threat against their ecosystem. I talk about gacha a lot on my channel, and it's very prevalent in this community. Players love all sorts of characters for different reasons, and the games market their characters intentionally so that you get attached. If you grow attached to a character, the more likely you are to spend money to acquire them. To show that you are the most dedicated fan, to show your loyalty to the character, some will even drop hundreds of dollars to fully max them out. If you have the means to do this, then sure, go right ahead. But I'm getting worried about how willing folks are to treat real people badly just for having a different opinion over a game. I've seen countless threads on social media of someone getting upset over a differing opinion on a fictional matter. And hey, they're allowed to have that different opinion, and they are allowed to express that they disagree. Where the issue lies is respect. If you've watched my videos before, you've likely heard me say that I want to hear your opinions, but just to keep it respectful in the comments. The moment you throw respect out the window and fall back on insults, threats, or lies is where your entire point gets lost. I've seen it in my own comment sections of people hurling insults my way, calling me names, and making things up about me. The big one in my case is due to me not liking Natlan or Malwika. It's okay that I'm not a huge fan, and it's okay that you are a fan of the region and its Archon. Just like my favorite character in Genshin is Venti. I know there are plenty of folks out there that don't like the character. I'm not gonna go around to spread rumors or insult those that don't like Venti. He's not real. He doesn't need defending. Same with Malwika. She's not real, and Malwika doesn't need you to defend her either. Your favorite character is not real, but the people behind the screen you're so willing to throw insults at are. If someone dislikes a character that you love, it's not a personal attack against you. It only feels that way because that individual has gotten so attached that they're blurring the lines of reality. We're allowed to have different opinions. That's what makes this world so beautiful and unique. If we all felt the same way about everything and did the same things as everyone else, we would be no different than ants. At the same time, I can see why people get attached to these fictional characters. At the time this video is being written, the world is in a very stressful place. There's a lot going on, and it's difficult to process everything. It can be overwhelming, and escaping to our comforts within a fictional world might be what helps us get through the day. Sometimes a distraction that you can get fully immersed into is a lifeline. I get it. I was going through a pretty nasty injury a few years ago when I started to play Genshin Impact. I could barely leave the house for years and my freedom was stripped away. Seeing a character that embodied freedom, something that I had lost and desperately wanted back, was one of the reasons why I grew to love the character so much. But if someone comes up to me and says that they hate Venti, it's not a personal attack against me. It's a different opinion. There's no need for me to get riled up on behalf of a character that's following a script written by a developer. Fictional characters, especially those that are marketed towards you like in gacha games, feel real, but they aren't. Each character is designed to target a certain demographic within the broader audience. If we want to look at this from an emotional perspective, there can be some uncomfortable truths waiting to surface. How about the fact that fictional characters can't leave you like real people can? If you go to watch that show, they'll be there. If you go to open up your game, that character will be there. We as humans also project ourselves onto characters in media that we've come to love. Think of all the headcanons you may see others come up with, or some headcanons of your own. If the line between fiction and reality is blurred, disliking a character someone else likes can now be seen as a personal attack because they see so much of themselves in that character. Two different people can also interpret a fictional character in two wildly different ways. The tricky part is, while the character themselves isn't real, the feelings that you have are. The more attached you are, the more likely you are to engage in irrational behavior. I have seen voice actors of characters get harassed for various reasons, such as shipping, memes, and a bad character kit. Yeah, Kokomi's voice actor got harassed because Kokomi the character was very controversial upon release, and it was over her kit, which is something the voice actor had no control over. I believe it was Skirk and Revere's English voice actors that are a couple in real life, so Skirk's VA joked over a crack ship between the two of them, only to get harassed about it. And real quick, a crack ship is just a silly ship that probably wouldn't happen. Or how those who pulled for Xiao shouldn't use his skill because it drains his HP, therefore hurting him. Yeah. But I've got one more crazier example. If you've been with the Genshin community for a while, maybe you remember the horrible situation of people hurting and even unaliving cats because Scaramouche was depicted as a cat at one point in the Sumeru storyline. They felt justified in doing this disgusting behavior because they hated the character Scaramouche so much that any cat that was now a resemblance of that character. Do you see how insane and even dangerous this can get when you start to blur the lines? And despite all that, this isn't to say that we shouldn't be allowed to engage in a form of escapism. Life is already hard enough. We just need to be responsible about it. We need to understand that there's a difference between a healthy distraction versus a willful avoidance. We need to recognize that we can absolutely immerse ourselves too far within a fictional world that our perception of reality gets warped. We need to understand that when someone begins to prioritize a fictional character over a real person, that something went wrong. As noted with the Scaramouche story, this can go both ways. Someone can love a character so much or hate a character so much to engage in poor behavior. My friend gave me a really good perspective on this as well, and he noted that when an individual loves something so much, they may be less likely to take any form of critique. So any form of negative or even neutral opinions on said character or topic is now viewed as an attack. They aren't willing to be open to other opinions because they are so wrapped up in their own head. Criticizing something doesn't make you hateful, but throwing insults certainly is. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing. As always, if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts, just keep it respectful. I have more gacha related content you can watch next if that's your jam, and I hope to see you in the next one.